All right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Summertime Rendering, episode 10.
Don't you hate it when you're on a date with your amnesic not sibling, and then next thing you know, you've got a tattoo and you weren't planning on it?
Right.
You know, it's
from some eldritch waifu that just
it's just
grabs onto you from beyond time and space.
Yeah, that's.
I mean, yeah, I like my drug trips as well to also be eldritch waifu free.
Yeah.
I prefer my 3D waifus, you know. Like...
No, she was 3D. She was just holographic. That's
I see.
Well, actually, no, she wasn't.
She foiled
the problem.
She foiled their plans.
Yeah.
But the Hineade. It wasn't an aid fold. I don't know, y'all. Without further ado, let's get into this.
お前はしおりちゃんの影との戦いで記憶にダメージを負った。黒いみたいにされて。
でもあいつは時間がなくて私を完全には消せやんかった。残されたデータから体を復元して帰ってきた。こうやって新平に真実を伝えられた。
I'm still suspect about that whole thing because I feel like we don't have enough bird's eye view perspective to see what actually was fully going on there.
Like, what if a virus was put in the middle of it? And as the sun's starting to set,
we don't have time. We always have to maximize every route, you know? Yep. Cool.
I wonder if he could double up on sleep in, like, certain iterations.
Oh, you mean, like, is his physical body going to get tired?
Yeah, like, if he stays up, like, 72 hours straight, right? Could he just sleep for one of the iterations to catch up?
ちょっと待って、ミオ。どちら様ですか？
ああ、ごめん。和歌山北署の三浦です。コバマートの小早川さんで知ってる？
Interesting.
待たせたな。
I love
what
it.
What a bro!
Yeah. Really, Shinpei, why didn't you do this? Yeah. Magic item.
Yes. Oh. Yeah. Nice. Right. So we got So's last name. It all connects. Yeah.
Right.
See, every single one of the side characters has something that connects them to all this. I don't know why, but I just love Ushio's voice actress. Like,
たとえ鎧を着ても私の本体は平面の影。影を刺されたら死ぬ。戦うんやったら水着が一番ってわけ。一度コピーしたもんやったら何回でも変身できる。容量が許す限りレパートリーは増やせる。
すごい。けど目のやり場に困るで。おい。
I feel like that is one of those like funny, goofy conversations that literally has like no meaning in the grand scheme of things, but they felt like bringing it up here because someone's gonna complain about it.
See, I would expect that kind of detailed conversation for if it was like a two-piece swimsuit. You know, it's like, no, it's very important.
Oh. Interesting. Interesting.
Well,
I'm starting to see some timeline overlapping kind of potential stuff here.
今は使われてへん薬や。こんなもんほったらかしにしてんのかよ。盲腸炎、気管支炎、肺炎。影の病に関するものはないか。
Well, yeah. That would be, like, wild if that was just...
見てみ。なんや、あれ。
What?
気味が悪いな。
That's a strange dildo? No.
It's the Elden Beast.
かなり古そうやな。左脇に魚を抱えてる。
Oh, sea god.
こういう見たことあるよな。
Yeah.
商売繁盛の。
Hmm.
様か。あ、それや。漁業の神様。でもエビス様言うたら太ったおっさんよな。
Yeah.
これは女性的っちゅうか。
Also,
What the fuck is that
Barely.
neck head thing?
yeah.
まさか。
Oh, shit.
ヒルコ様。ヒルコ様。なんでそんなもんが。
Oh, shit.
ただの推測や。
これはひしごと家の古いアルバム。
Oh, here we go.
後ろ。
どないした？
ここ。お前やったらこの隙間。
Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
お月会の荒いやっちゃな。
はい
明日の祭りでたこ焼きおごってよ。
10個でも100個でも紅茶そう。
I was kidding. Like,
言うたなしめ。約束やで。
actual drool.
That would be a great way to have a secret area, though, if you know about shadows.
鍵穴がある。この壁、扉かも。
一旦戻ってこい。
Yeah, it was worth a shot.
探さんと。
That was great realism. Just the idea that, like,
Could we bust it down?
No.
頑張ったらお腹空いてきた。
Hey, tomorrow, not today.
yeah, yeah.
おにぎり？なんで？
そろそろ晩飯にしよら。
My man came prepared.
Yep. Wait, so shadows can get sustenance from real food?
やっぱ結局は
This episode is so silly and goofy.
Yeah.
I love that they're in the scary place,
Right.
but there's no actual fear of like something happening because they're on like a scouting thing here.
影のスキャンは物の内側まで見て
Oh.
人間の骨格や内臓を。
Oh shit, there's the key. Let's go.
中になんかある。
Okay.
Damn.
こいつは
Wow.
All right.
Let's go.
隠し扉。地下へ降りる穴か。
Let's go.
So, a place that specifically can only be
影の気配を感じる。
accessed by shadows.
Or from the other
Or, with
side.
or from the other side.
Yeah, any kind of tunnel dug in like this has another exit.
That's true. Yeah.
So it probably is a means to get to this clinic secretly
Right.
from another location.
Sure.
And given that they're at the top of the mountain, it makes sense that it would go down so that they can get probably back to the town.
Well, and given that we saw at the festival the point where he was in the other area with the shadow.
Yeah.
聞いてるが。
Oh.
入り口。おそらく何十年も誰も入っていない。
あっち、
Oh shit.
ものすごい嫌な空気。
もしも抜き差しならない状況になったら、牛は自分の身だけを守れ。そうも牛を守ることに全力を注いでくれ。
私があんたらを守るんや。
俺が死んでもまたループするだけや。でももしお前が先に死んだら、
Mm-hmm.
お前は俺についてこられんのか。もしもそれが無理やったら、お前と次会えんのは。
Oh, sure.
See, this is like
Okay.
this is the operating like understanding as to how
人型の黒いシミ。
And bullets.
yeah. How
So maybe this is a long time ago?
yeah.
古い。昔ここで誰かが影に消された。
What a weird looking thing.
おったんか。いる。一匹だけ。
All right, let's see if the squad can take out a basic shadow.
奴の動きを封じる。そして後ろがとどめを刺す。 そうはバックアップだ。
1, 2, 3, bust the door. Doesn't seem to care or notice. Sleeping. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a baby sucking its finger, you know? Yeah.
まずい。こいつ嗅覚で。
See, the real thing you should be worried about is not what it does, but if it like calls to a parent or something.
What the hell?
野球の玉やと思えばよ。
Okay. Bringing the bat was
But that's not its real
good call.
body.
Wait, it's gone.
まだや後ろ。俺らでなんとかする。
Release the bat.
そうがやられる。震えてるじゃないか。
Damn, the way they...
こんなんじゃ何発
Whoa,
撃って
whoa,
も当たり
whoa,
やしない。
whoa, whoa. Whoa.
力を抜いて集中しろ。
Shit.
あの時からいつもやってるイメージだろ。
Okay.
Nice.
All right.
All combat takes is 6 seconds, you know?
Hey, that's why you wear armor.
どうってことないわ。結果オーラや。落ち着いとったな。
Now I'm gonna get a really cool scar.
Yeah. Oh, oh, oh.
どうかした？
安心すんの早いで。最初に感じた影の気配は消えてへん。めっちゃ嫌な感じ。黒板に詰め立てる音が聞こえてくる
Maybe
みたい
because she
な。
remembered now she's having trouble killing her own kind.
あんたも身を守りたいやろ。
当たり前や。命かけるで俺は。
ほんならビビってる暇ないで。
Turns it around. Go.
Yep.
全身あるのみや。
Until all the shadows are destroyed.
影見代にやられた傷。力が戻って後ろのデータから腕をプリントしたけど、見た目だけってことは本体に受けたダメージは回復してないんや。
Okay.
Weird. Yeah, there's some things going on with Ushio she's not talking about. Oh,
なんや。
修正。
先輩。
jeez.
からいきなり雰囲気違うで。自然の洞窟や。
Yeah.
それに潮の香り。
影の気配が私らの周りに。
Oh shit.
Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no, 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 no.
Oh
no.
fuck. All right, open season.
走れ後ろ。走れ。
Yeah. And to be continued. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. All right. Well, interesting kind of
Huh.
pacing style for this
Yeah.
episode. I feel like they...
It was very relaxed.
It's very
compared to the
relaxed,
previous one.
you know, but the idea that they're actually like racing forward with a bunch of unique exposition feels like we're about to accelerate again, but it's
Yeah.
in order to understand a little bit about the conflict, we needed to have a couple things just quickly rapid fire
And
covered.
it does make sense that they would have a lot of that here because since the time loop and the Ushio being a shadow and all that stuff is like known publicly by the main crew,
Yeah.
then naturally they'd talk about this kind of stuff and be like, okay, well, what can we have her do? You know?
Yeah. Okay. All right. This was a strange episode. A little bit of an awkward one. We have a lot of exposition that we get here, and some of it seems pretty immediately relevant, especially with the Hishigata family and the way in which this clinic is very clearly tied to some stuff from the past, but also the way in which it shows us that, yes, So's father is very much involved in things that connect him to the shadows, not just because of us seeing him literally with a shadow in a wheelchair back in the end of the bad route.
But because, oh, hey, this is sitting on top of a secret tunnel that leads to a nursery of shadows, basically.
Right. And this is something that I feel like we're setting up here, like a multi-stage mini arc here of, okay, how were the shadows made originally? How did the shadows start being a thing?
Yeah.
And they had the whole thing of the 1960s being brought up.
Which
the idea
lines
that
up with,
the
temple
guy's
dude's grandfather, who apparently named the shadow sickness.
Right, which means it's a very recent thing as well. But the idea that, okay, we have a very interesting period of Japanese history that's being addressed lightly here. The idea then that if we, went around that time specifically, we would be, around 1940s Japan, which is when shit went down, just in general, just something to keep in mind there.
Sure.
But then also the idea then that after that, in
the 60s,
war, yes, exactly, in a war zone base island kind of setup here, we have a shadow baby group here, while also learning about potentially a bit of lore about Japanese gods and the fertility aspect of that. And the way that this might tie into the festival, it feels like we're getting the hard world building episode here.
Yes, because like we talked about the whole idea that like, okay, this is probably something where, the whole festival is surrounding like, gods come ashore, all that stuff, yada, yada, yada. Okay, that's probably something that's tied to the shadows. Cool. Now we're starting to get into the details of that kind of stuff. And so, all right, that seems to be the direction that they are in fact taking this with. And now we'll have to see exactly what that means, because we got like some confirmations of the general stuff this episode, but we didn't actually get that much new, like, concrete, actable information other than that, So's father, the characters know that he's connected to some weird shadow stuff probably. But that's more or less it. I would have loved to have gotten more focus on the Heine bit that we ended off with, because that was like super intense and crazy, but apparently...
Because they didn't see it.
They didn't see it.
Yeah.
And that's
they saw it as
curious.
just Shiori, I guess.
Right.
Which is cool, because there's a couple things that I feel like the show is dancing around here with Ushio. There's the aspect that Ushio's explanation for how she's not just here at all, but the way in which she has limited memories of specific things feels like the characters are kind of going, well, it must have been this, basically. It must have been something like this that happened.
Taking the most straightforward explanation, but that doesn't necessarily.
But there's no actual. Well, right, but there's no foolproof actual data to support that. They're just going off of. It looked like, it seemed like it.
Yeah.
It felt like that influenced this.
How do you even determine what is the most straightforward explanation for something that defies your current understanding of the way the world works?
Right, exactly. And we need to see another loop in order to actually see if our belief that some of their suppositions are actually off can actually be followed up on. And part of that is just going to be the way in which the loop influences Ushio, if at all.
And also, let's be real, Shinpei.
Yeah.
When he loops, does he still have that hand mark?
Yeah.
That'll be kind of a big deal if he does. And I get the feeling he will. But
I get the feeling he will, because right now I feel like we're headed to that point in the story where we're starting to learn some things, but we're still at the halfway mark.
Right.
Like, not even really fully there.
And that is one of those things where it's like, now granted, with stories like this, I feel like you can take a lot longer to have things be explained in the earlier on parts, because it's about setting up all the questions that can be answered and also enjoying the tension of not knowing the answers to these questions, right?
Absolutely.
But it is one of those things where the more complicated the situation gets, and the more they hold to the kind of slow pace that this episode had, in contrast to like the episodes with Hizuru and and a lot of the other stuff that we've had.
Earlier episodes,
I'm curious how they'll fit in the explanation of how all of this stuff works, while at the same time keeping the story engaging and thrilling and all that stuff. Because this was a solution to those problems.
Right, because this was probably one of the least engaging episodes we've had thus far because of that pacing. And the way in which they did the action felt kind of stifled in a way.
Yeah, like it was I like the idea of, Shinpei being like, okay, bird's eye view and us seeing exactly what that kind of means for him, and like the idea that started when his parents
It's kind
died.
of a trauma response.
Yeah, it's a trauma response.
It's a trauma response that's very interesting.
Right.
But also the potential way in which this is potentially tied to his mechanics as a looper. Like,
yeah, exactly. Right.
We can't ignore that.
That could get blown up to be more than it immediately would seem.
Yep.
Especially since we have situations now where he is seeing things differently than everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's
right.
You know, I don't need to say why.
We don't need to say why that's crazy.
That's crazy
because it's the idea that when we think about our characters here being in a time-related story,
mm-hmm.
there's a very important reminder that the ability of the eye is not to time loop. It's to give someone control of time.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that over the course of this story, we can slowly but surely change our perspective from the eye being something of a, well, if I die, I'll loop and, you know, keep reestablishing or reinvigorating certain things that I've done in the past to be part of the canon timeline. But it doesn't have to be just that. That is just where we're at right now.
This is very much the kind of thing where now, granted, I don't think it really works with the way they've set up the time travel so far, but or maybe it would, but they could totally do the thing where there's some crazy time travel thing at some point in the story that, you know, goes back all the way to when his parents died, or, you know, or something like that. Something that sets up like huge amounts of events over the course of
the part where I think
history.
that there is potentially something like that is there's something that this story is doing that I like, and I'm also like worried about, is that they are dropping in things that are kind of unexplainables at the moment. They don't really have any way to fully be explained, but they're dropping them in a very piecemeal-like fashion such that we don't get overwhelmed with them and focus too much on the fact that there's a lot of things in the story that they're just kind of rushing past. And I think the reason why is because there's going to be a recontextualization point, a turning point in the story where suddenly we go, oh, fuck. All these little things now add up to this overwhelming adjustment in our perspective. And I think most of it is going to be around Heine. I think Heine is this thing in the story that we don't really get, but Heine does fit in the themes of the idea that there's something that's been passed down through this one, the time power, the idea also of there being some kind of motherly kind of attributing from the shadows to her. Okay, but then also this God kind of storyline here. It all is just separate enough that you can go, okay, it's obviously connected in some way, but we don't know entirely how. So
here's my here's my crazy, no, not really crazy theory. It's if anything maybe a bit stereotypical, and that's why I'm thinking it probably won't be this, but it could match up pretty nicely with a lot of the things that we have set up so far. Heine is like the Hishigata doctor helped start this thing, or their family did in the 60s or whatever. Right.
Or maybe I would assume a little bit before, honestly, probably like right after the war, because it's probably abandoned at the 60s. But it's the
okay, that's a good point. Yeah. And the reason why Heine exists is because she was someone's child that they were trying to bring back to life or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And so they
succeeded.
They succeeded or whatever. They begged the god of
good fortune,
good fortune, and the heteromorphic one and all that stuff to be like, okay, well, we want to bring her back, right? All these little shadow babies and stuff are basically failed attempts. Right. And so they're kept down here, and that was probably why it was abandoned, and that would be why there was that statue in a hospital. Right. Like, I understand maybe having like a shrine or a place for people that are like doing inpatient care to be able to like worship and stuff.
Yeah. At some point though, humans invoked the god's power in some ways, and now we fucked things up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that's where Heine came from. And that's why she's going to be an actual character.
Right. Not just a force.
Right. That being said, I don't think Heine is actually like the daughter, like, or whatever the, situation was, right? It seems like the kind of thing where it's they took on the form of the child, right? But
they're also something else.
They're also something else.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's there's a whole bunch of visual cues I think towards that, but it would be a bit much of a list to go into all those things. But the big one I think right now is that while the story is going at a slower pace, they are trying to give us very hard explanations for what Ushio can do as a shadow as well. And
yes.
this is a great way to set up a parallel for what a more powerful shadow could do.
Sure.
And thus we have a frame of reference for, a shadow can do anything. It's the no. Ushio can do this, and she is awesome. So then when we introduce really scary shadows, either the tentacled, father, abomination thing at the festival, which they can, potentially do this, or potentially Heine, who can maybe do this. It's the, that comparison there is pretty,
and yet
pretty nuts.
The weird thing about all this is that even if you're dealing like
the whole copies limitation and all
Japan's mythology with regards to like gods and things like that is far different than like a lot of other like
every culture has
no
their own.
right but like gods aren't as like big of a deal, right? Because there's a bunch of them, right? So Heine having these eyes that give time control, like time powers, right? That doesn't seem to line up with god of luck and good. I mean, well, okay. No,
it depends.
If you can loop
It
through
depends.
time, you'd probably be considered from the outside to be pretty lucky.
Yes.
But like how those things connect, I'm not sure how they would, and that's the thing that's confusing.
Well,
me
right, and that's why Heine is going to be a character, not just a force. Is that there's going to be something to it that is beyond Heine.
But even if this incarnation of Heine is fairly recent, because like let's say this started at earliest in the 40s, right? Some aspect of Heine is ancient, etc., goes beyond that. If there's say like a god that latched onto the idea of Heine or something, as the original shadow or whatever.
Yeah. I still do think that we're headed towards another side of things, world building wise, which is why this story seems to focus on the fact that a little bit after World War II, things started happening here. Like if we take a grandfather of an adult in the this is supposed to be the modern time. This is supposed to be our time, basically. You can go back then to that, the priest guy was born in the 90s or the 80s. And then you go back to them being, their dad being born then in like the
50s or...
the 50s or the
50s
60s.
or 60s or 40s.
Yeah. But then it's the time that their grandfather would have been in their 20s and 30s during the 40s, 50s, and 60s and stuff. That then leads to a setup there where you have
you could get the situation where the actual grandfather was
in World War II,
or alive right around there.
Well, alive, but like was a fully functioning adult. Like they weren't like a baby or anything like that.
You'd be dealing with 80 years, so.
No. Because we assume that the priest is 30.
Right, a grandparent being 50 years older than their that's 25 years per generation.
It lines up really well, and basically.
Oh wait, no, because that would line up to them being born right around the time of World War II. If they were full adult by that time, they'd be being born around 1920, right?
Well,
and then that'd be 100 years. But either way, point is that if they tie things into like World War II and stuff, that could be an interesting like way to like get at the motivations or maybe some of the mechanics of why this kind of stuff is happening or whatever. But the thing that I'm really wanting to see here is when do they talk to the priest? Because like they made a whole big deal of how like the priest is busy.
Yeah,
but I feel like
we're going through each immediate thing in the individual routes here.
But I feel like especially after all this stuff with the god and everything. And the statue, that's the next priority.
That's the next thing for sure. Yeah. But all right, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You got an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out my Persona 5 Royal Let's Play on Twitch. And if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all
next time.